So, for Jaeathon, I promised a story, and I decided to pick, since it was like spooky season, it's almost Halloween. I figured, why not read one of my childhood favorite books? I don't know why this is one of my favorite books as a kid, because now reading it as an adult, I realized it was actually kind of morbid for a kid to read. But, if you recognize it, you'll know what I mean. It's called There Was an Old Lady Who Swallowed a Fly. It can also be sung, I found out. But I read it as a book. So here we go. There was an old lady who swallowed a fly. I don't know why she swallowed a fly. Perhaps she'll die. There was an old lady who swallowed a spider. It wiggled and jiggled and tickled inside her. She swallowed the spider to catch the fly. I don't know why she swallowed a fly. Perhaps she'll die. There was an old lady who swallowed a bird. How absurd, she swallowed a bird. She swallowed the bird to catch the spider. It wiggled and jiggled and tickled inside her. She swallowed the spider to catch the fly. I don't know why she swallowed a fly. Perhaps she'll die. There was an old lady who swallowed a dog. What a hog, she swallowed a dog. She swallowed the dog to catch the cat. She swallowed the cat to catch the bird. She swallowed the bird to catch the spider. It wiggled and jiggled and tickled inside her. She swallowed the spider to catch the fly. I don't know why she swallowed the fly. Perhaps she'll die. There was an old lady who swallowed a cow. I don't know how she swallowed a cow. She swallowed the cow to catch the dog. She swallowed the dog to catch the cat. She swallowed the cat to catch the bird. She swallowed the bird to catch the spider. It wiggled and jiggled and tickled inside her. She swallowed the spider to catch the fly. I don't know why she swallowed a fly. Perhaps she'll die. There was an old lady who swallowed a horse. She died, of course. So that's the story of the old lady who swallowed the fly. I don't know. So, more stories to add on to this wonderful story ASMR. So I'm going to tell you guys the tale of basically one of those moments in your life where you always that's always a story you come and recall back to, if you know what I mean. So when I was in middle school, I went camping. Not traditional camping where you have like a tent or trailer camping, if that counts as camping. But it was basically a school field trip. So for one whole week, I was far, far away from home in a cabin, along with my friends and a few other students from my grade. Eventually, we all ended up becoming kind of friends. But so what this camping trip taught me, I will say, is that I will never make it in the apocalypse, and that I am very easy to break mentally. But anyway, you came here to hear some entertainment, so I'm going to give that to you. The first tale I'm going to tell is called Weight Balance. So one of the things that we got to do was canoeing. Now there was 5 of us. There was me and my 3 besties, and then one other girl who was also in our cabin. Now, typically you can have 3 people in a canoe, right? But I was hoping that I wouldn't have to be the one who was sitting in the middle. But turns out, okay, I had to sit in the middle. So my 2 besties got one canoe where they sat on each end. Then there was me, my other bestie sat behind me in the middle, and then that girl who sat in front. So the canoeing was fine. But I should mention, it's very, very hard to canoe when you're sitting in the middle spot and you're not elevated. Not to mention that the middle of the canoe was kind of wet, and during that week, unfortunately for me, was that time of the month, so to speak. So you could imagine sitting in that for however long, was not good and not a pleasant smell, I will mention. So essentially, we go and do this canoeing trip, and then we come back because it's almost time for our scheduled dinner. So we get to the dock. My two besties have already gone. They're already at the cabin, you know, drying up and getting ready to eat. Meanwhile, we're just coming behind them. So we get to the dock, and I will just mention, I don't know who decided the plan to get out, but it was not smart. See, me and my friend, we weighed about the same. I don't know what... We looked identical, so, you know, we pretty much weighed the same. However, our friend over here, she was a little on the heavier side, which is fine. But what caused this issue was my friend got out. And by her getting out, the boat decided to tip and flip on us. Luckily, we had life jackets because I didn't know how to swim. So I'm here sloshing, thinking it's the end of my life and that I'm going to die here. Because one of my worst fears is drowning. But basically, you know, I'm sloshing in the water. It's nasty and I'm disoriented. I'm wearing glasses too. So I'm like, all my glasses are wet. And my friend's trying her best not to laugh at me. But we knew what happened. So then I had to have one of my teachers try to pull me out of the lake because I had no strength in my arms to actually lift myself up and put myself up on the dock. So technically, I would have probably died there if no one helped me up. So my teacher helped me up, all good in the hood. They get the other girl up, and then I don't have any sandals for some odd reason, so I'm walking all sopping wet. I was wearing a t-shirt and shorts because I didn't have a proper swimsuit. I walked to the cabin with the dirt path and the rocks and branches, and then I ended up looking at the window, which I should also mention. This cabin wasn't actually like our own cabin. It was a shared cabin. It was built like it's one big building, right? But there's two doors in the front and two doors in the back. So actually, the one side is our quote-unquote cabin, and then the other side is another cabin. And there's just the wall that divides us. And then in the back, there's like this little curtain thing, kind of like the thing that's behind me right here. And you can go to the other people's cabin if you truly wanted to. And there was also a broom, which my friend was obsessed with sweeping that whole week. I don't know why. But anyway, so looking through the window, I saw my friend who was drying her hair, and I'm like, open the door. And she's like, it's unlocked, you can come in. And then I knock again, and she looks out the window, and she looks at me, and she's like, oh no. So she opens the door, and I'm like, please give me a towel. She goes into my suitcase, throws a towel at me, and then I pop off. I'm like, I fell out of the canoe. I'm all sopping wet. This was miserable. I did not like sitting in the middle. It was bad. It was bad. But yeah. So, pro tip, if you're ever gonna do canoeing, don't do 3 people in one. Unless you have a smart plan to get out of the canoe, which we didn't. So, that was one story of camp. Another story was, I believe, we kind of got lost in the lake. So typically, we had like scheduled times for each group to do, like, so and so group 1 goes kayaking, group 2 does bracelet making, group 3 does I don't know, mountain biking. And then each day it would cycle so then each group could have their own allotted time. So essentially, it was our turn to go kayaking, but I don't recall whether or not we had a guide. So what ended up happening is we had a group of about, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 teenagers, including myself, get stuck at the end of the lake in a marshy area in which you could stick your paddle into the mud and push yourself. So here we are trying to navigate this place like it's rush hour and pushing each other's boats. Meanwhile, actually, now that I can see, I remember, the guide actually left us, I think. The guide went through and it's like, okay, go around, and then left us all behind. Some people managed to get through already, but for the other chunk of us, we're here back paddling, pushing each other's boats, trying. I think one dude actually got out of his, like, he just decided, okay, I'm gonna get out of my kayak and I'm gonna push it, and then we'll just kind of maneuver us like sheep. So that was another part of camping. There's also, this was one of the highlights of my camping trip, in which we had all groups, all the teachers, basically everyone, the guides too, we all surrounded at the end of this lake area with a big bonfire, and they were singing, what song was it that they were singing? It was some old song, but they were playing guitar and singing songs, and everyone's just here, you know, it's all in the dark, and we're all kind of, it was a good time, honestly. Back then, times were different. Because one of the things with the camping trip is, well, they said there was no Wi-Fi, but there was actually Wi-Fi, but you would need a password. They actually took your SIM cards. They're like, okay, we are totally going off the grid, give me your SIM cards. Which, I was sitting beside my best friend. I had a few besties. But, so, she was already getting her phone all set. But this is when we're going, like, up into, like, we're on a pretty rocky path already. So I'm here trying to get my SIM card into this little plastic bag. I drop it inside the bus. And I should mention, this bus is not your average school bus. It was like a tourism bus thing, you know, a really big one. So I'm here tapping the ground, calling on my friends, hey guys, I need help, let's get my SIM card. I get it, put it in the bag, hand it over. Along with that, I think there was also, I do recall, we had to invent a game on one of the days, and then every group would have their own game, and then people would just go around and we play each other's games. I think we were trying to do beer pong, but obviously, because we're like, what, 12 or 13 or something, we can't have beer, so we made it called water pong, and then there was supposed to be some point system attached with it. I don't exactly remember the details, but my friends just decided to squabble. I don't know why. So me and my other bestie, we're here trying to just run this while everyone else is chasing each other down at the cabin. When we finally decide to wrap up, we head back to the cabin, in which, yeah, all these girls are fighting. I don't exactly remember what the tea was, but let's just say there was some drama during these times. There was a peak to everything. I guess cabin fever, if you know what I'm saying. Another thing we also did, because the cabins, I should mention, the cabins were not warm. Like, I don't think there was actually a heater. And I didn't think to bring, like, a sleeping bag or anything. I was sleeping on this really hard cot. And it was material in which, probably leather, honestly. If you got up, you would hear your legs rip off from the stickiness. I was lucky enough to have a friend give me another blanket, but it was freezing in there. I used my own clothes as heat, which I was surprised I didn't get sick. So I was quite cold and shivering after falling out of the canoe and dousing myself in water. But there was also the times of just, we had to hang up our clothing and things like that. Like, we brought enough clothing for a week, and also we had to like re-wear our swimsuits and such. So we put all of our stuff on the patio. It was really windy one night, and I don't know what the panic was, but I do recall having, like, we were all rushing to get inside. I think it was because it was windy and we were wearing our PJs. It was windy, it's all black outside. We're right beside the lake. And all we have is the one light for our cabin. So we hop in, get in there, lock the door, check the floors, check the back. Which, our first night, actually, that was one of the most chaotic nights because I got quite homesick and quite sad. But I remember how I mentioned with the cabins. With the cabins having just that wall, and it was a decent wall, right? But it wasn't exactly a full wall. Like where the, I guess, triangularness of the roof, that part wasn't sealed. So technically, we could hear everything that our next door cabin mates were saying. And they just happened to be so loud that one night, it was like maybe 12 or 1. Let me mention, we had to get up for like 7 a.m. I think 7 a.m. was for if you wanted to take a bath, but 8 a.m. on the dot, eating time. Which that was also chaotic within itself because we had to try to divvy up all of our food. We ate all our food. I think a few people actually left camping early. I would have been one of those people, but I stuck it out till the end. It was chaotic. Oh, wait, that also reminds me. I, with my stomach, I don't know how I did this, but the entirety of that trip, I did not use the loo for a number 2. I shall mention. I don't know if it's because I was so hyped up on adrenaline, or I know I didn't eat too much, but I never really felt hungry. But one thing's for sure. When I came home that day, I think my toilet took the L. But yeah, those are just some nice camp stories from my adventures as a middle schooler to add on with the spooky old lady who swallowed a fly, which I just recently learned. Apparently, the author made a few more books. Swallowed leaves, swallowed books, swallowed bats. Apparently, this is what this author is known for, is the old lady who swallowed something. Next thing you know, the 2025 version is going to be the old lady swallowed a PC. Who knows? But yeah, that was my story segment. I hope that was sufficient.